Alright, so this is going to be a series on Backwoods Mafia, how we got started, where we're at today, where we're going in the future, just all things that God has done with the business. And so we're just going to explain that and walk you through that journey. So pretty excited to see what this series holds. So the question that I get asked a lot at shows, and the elephant kind of in the room, is why the name Backwoods Mafia? Why'd you choose that? Why the word mafia? All that kind of stuff. And so when I was growing up, always in the woods, hunting, fishing, hunting deer, turkeys, squirrels, coons, whatever I could do to be outside. That was my main hobby, other than baseball, whether it was me with my dad, granddad, and buddies who were always out there doing something. And so the whole term of Backwoods Mafia, mafia really represents the brotherhood, the family, the friends, the bond behind when you go out there and you're hunting, you're fishing, you're chasing the game. Because at the end of the day, that's where most the stories and the memories come from, is all the crazy stuff that you do while you're hunting and fishing. And so with Backwoods Mafia, so I was started in 2016, so I was right at the junior year in high school. And we had seen some at that time Instagram was blowing up, and you'd seen some pages kind of get going in the outdoor, doing the film, that kind of stuff. And I was frog gigging with some buddies, and we're like, oh, that'd be so cool to do something like that. And so we started the Backwoods Mafia Instagram, and we just started making posts of different things that we killed or caught or whatever. And Backwoods Mafia, because of the word mafia, kind of had a little bit of edge to it. It wasn't like it was just backwoods outdoors or something like that. But that mafia really represents the brotherhood, the family aspect, and the mafia, kind of that underdog blue collar man who works all week long, saves up his vacation time and saves up his extra pay to go hunting, so he can or fish and take his friends, his wife, his kids, whoever fishing. So the mafia really represents that guy who does that, who is also politically incorrect, who stands for his faith. So I became a Christian, and so with the company, that's one thing that I want to do, is share the gospel, the news that we're all sinners. Christ came, He died for us, and He was sin. He took sin for us, because He paid a debt that we could not pay on our own. And He brings, for all those who put their faith in Him, repent of their sins, Christ restores our relationship with God. So that aspect, plus the fact that we love our country and the freedoms that we get to have in this country. So Backwoods Mafia, the name, the mafia, the backwoods, being outside, hunting, fishing, really encompasses a whole lot of aspects of who I am and who my buddies are growing up, who my dad is, my family, and just being in the woods all the time. There's a lot of variables there that make that up, from our faith to our love for country, and just love to be outside, and then our love to cook some backstrap and eat it for breakfast. That's what I had for breakfast this morning, was backstrap. We had a cookout the other night, and I ate backstrap for breakfast. I mean, you can't do that in New York City. So I just love that. So from a business side of things, how do we actually get started? What does that journey look like? So in August 10th, 2016, I sold my first shirt to my buddy Corbin Bodiford, which he's in the Coast Guard now. Shout out to him for that. I sold it to him for $5, and if I remember correctly, my cost in the shirt was $4.62. So that'd have been like a 38-cent profit. So margins were a little questionable there at the beginning. But anyway, it was good. So I was pretty excited about that, just the idea that I sold a shirt. But my dad, he had a printing and promotional kind of business, doing a lot of paper products and some shirts and stuff too. And so he had some connections to it. He knew about a couple wholesaler accounts for shirts and hats and that kind of stuff. And so he, very appreciative of his help to kind of get me in touch with him there and get that going, because without those initial connections with getting some of those accounts, none of this would be here at all. And so getting that started, and so ordered 50 shirts, my first round, and then it was a mixture of like navy, brown, and pink shirts. And I would literally put them, I'd have them folded up by size in the tub, and I would take them to school, and I would go around and take orders and sell as many as I could to my buddies throughout the day. And then after school was over, we got in the parking lot and I'd pass out the shirts. And really the first little bit, I was selling all the shirts for $5. I just wanted to like kind of get some momentum as far as in some sales coming in, just like, you know, maybe if I can get my initial 10 or 15 buddies with some shirts, then more people will want them, so try to create some appetite there for other people to buy them. And so I had the shirts there, and I remember specifically there was 2 times around football games I went and I had these what shirts was left, and I went to a football game and I like set out in the parking lot and was gonna sell shirts. And so I like, you know, had my bin there, shirts. I was just sitting on my tailgate, and I did not sell any shirts, and that was probably like 2 weeks in. So I was kind of discouraged there, but I was like, man, how can I find something to create a shirt that people will need? Well, luckily, so homecoming week was coming up soon, and the theme was Code Red. So I went around, took a whole bunch of pre-orders for t-shirts that were red, and I was gonna put my logo in white on them, and I was selling those for $10. So we were, you know, increasing the margins there. And I remember, I think it was around 50 or 60 shirts that I ended up selling. But I stayed up late Thursday night making the shirts. Then Friday morning I came to school with a huge trash bag full of shirts, and I walked around all day and passed out these shirts in the trash bag. Remember, I got a lot of questionable looks for that, but you know, that's the only way I can think of to carry them around. So we did that, and then after that, so now we're like middle 2016 after that. So I remember I kind of made a little website, but it was pretty rough, and I'd made a few $100s from total shirt sales so far. I remember this was kind of a pivotal point. I remember I was talking to my dad, and he was like, all right, you made this I think it was like $400. You made this $400. You can keep the $400 and go spend it and run, and you know, take your profits and enjoy it, or you can take the $400 and go buy 100 shirts. And so that's probably been one of the greatest lessons in business, is not wasting all your profits on new clothes, new shoes, new whatever, but reinvesting it back in the business. And really, for the first 3 years, maybe 4 years, that's all I really did. I took all the profits, other than spending just a little bit, and I would buy more hats, buy new designs. And so it was, the business would make money, but I never actually could physically put my hand on it because it would always be in more inventory because I had to buy more to sell more. So it was this chicken and egg concept that really, it was, for a while, it was really just about buying more inventory. But I remember that being a pivotal point. And do you want to keep going with the business? Do you want to, is it something you just want to make a few shirts and keep your money, or do you actually want to pursue it further? Which I'm so glad I did. I never could have dreamed that God would have opened these doors to meet so many people and just learn so much about business, and have this building here, which we began to rent in 2019, so coming up on 5 years, which that's crazy to think about. And just that struggle of learning about business and reinvesting profits, and just scratching and clawing and learning your way through. So in 2016, I was messing around on my grandma's computer using the Paint program that Microsoft had. And I came up with this here, which was just all images from Google with the deer horns and the hooks and the dog, and kind of put that together with Backwoods Mafia. And I was like, oh yeah, this is it. We just go with that. That's the logo we got. But I was instructed and guided that we needed, you know, probably something a little more professional if it was going to sell. And then actually I came up with this. I kind of went through this phase where instead of Backwoods Mafia, I was going to do Outdoor Mafia. And that lasted probably like 2 weeks, and I went back to Backwoods. But you can see that there in the OM. That's what that represented for at that time, because I drew this bottom logo here, and then somebody, an artist, went into the computer and converted to a computer file. But yeah, that's how we got the logo. And the thing about the logo that kind of drew me to it, and the reason I put that there was because it really encompassed what we did in the backwoods. Every man loves a lab and hunts with a lab or some sort of hunting dog, and then with the horns, big deer hunter, and the fish hooks. It just encompasses a whole kind of lifestyle amongst three different images there that represented the Backwoods Mafia. Specifically, so by the middle of 2017, total between hats and shirts, I had made $2,000, and I was absolutely stoked about that. But then this guy messaged me on Instagram inviting us to go to a show, and I didn't have a trailer, didn't have anything like that. So actually, I bought a trailer, an enclosed trailer from my uncle for $2,000. So I spent all the money that I had made over this last 6 to 7 months on this trailer to go to this show, which kind of reference this is to the other point about, you know, reinvesting back in the business. I was super excited. I thought I was going to go to this show and just go gangbusters and just, I guess, get rich. But I showed up at this show. It was a coon hunt. It was a fundraiser for a guy who had gotten cancer, and it was a really good show. It was a coon hunt, but there was probably around maybe 100 people there. Anyway, long story short, I did not make money. I lost money, and I spent all of my profits on this trailer. But for the future, I was able to use the trailer in the future to keep going. But at the time, I was questioning my decision about, you know, if I'd invested in the right thing. But the trailer later on paid off, going on to more shows.